Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, Loving Little Learners. Today, I wanted to share with you guys this awesome website that I have been using in class called Boom Learning. So I have fallen in love with Boom Learning and all of the different features that they have. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through all of the different features and how I go about using them to support my students with our learning. So the main features that I really like on Boom Learning are their activity library, the student reports that you can generate, and tons of student activities that you guys can find right on the website or even on Teachers Pay Teachers. So I'm going to go ahead and walk you through the website Boom Learning and show you all of the different aspects of the website. So once you go ahead and make a free account on boomlearning.com, you will be asked to create a classroom. So if you go here to the top tab where it says classes, you can go ahead and create your classroom from there. You can add a new classroom and you can see how easy it is. You'll create a username, a password, and then just add in your students' names from there. I already have a classroom made. This is just a classroom for the purpose of this video. These are not my actual students. But as you can see, every student gets a little picture and a username, and you can even set them individual passwords, or you can set a password for your entire class right here. So that is how you go about creating a classroom. It is so easy to do. You can also just import in your classroom as well. And once you do have your class set, you can go ahead and start assigning them Boom decks. And so I'm going to go ahead and go to this library tab here, where you can see all of the different decks that I have purchased or that I use with my class. So here are just some examples. These are actually decks that I have made myself and sell Boom on Boom Learning and Teachers Pay Teachers. You guys can make your own decks, or you can also go to the Boom Learning store here and find some decks that align with whatever you are teaching at the moment. And I'll show you guys how to do that in a bit. So once you have a library set up with all of the types of activities that you want to help support your students, you can go about doing and using these Boom cards in a couple of different ways. The main way that I use these Boom cards is just sharing my screen while I'm live on Google Meet. So for example, let's say that we're working on our CVC words and we're working on the middle O sound. So I'm going to go ahead and just click on this activity, and then it opens this up for me to preview the lesson. But I can go ahead and work my way through this entire lesson while sharing my screen on Google Meet. So as I am presenting this screen on Google Meet, I have my students with their whiteboards spell out the entire CVC word on their board. And we play something called Show Me, where they don't get to show me the word until I count down so that nobody sees the word spelled out beforehand. So we just do a 1, 2, 3, show me after about a minute of working. And then that way everybody still gets to use the actual physical marker and work on their handwriting skills because we are in kindergarten. So I would go ahead and either play this speaker button to have them listen to the sound, or I can just tell them the word dog. And as we say the word dog, we're going to segment it together. And we do that by something called tapping it out. So we would tap out the word together, and then I would prompt my students to use the letter sounds on the bottom and the letters on the bottom to go ahead and write them in order on their whiteboard. And then they'll show me after we do our countdown. And then I can just simply model it for my students. I can say D, A, G, and then we can blend it out together. And then they get to see if I got it right or not by pressing the submit button. You hear that it even gives you a sound if you got it correct. So let's see. This is a picture of sob. Let's go ahead and spell it wrong. Okay, so if I spelled this wrong and try to submit it, you'd hear that sound. So these decks are self-correcting. And now we can see that, oops, we put in the wrong letter here at the end, and we can talk about what letter sound it is that we actually hear and correct ourselves. So that is how I would go about sharing it live on Google Meet or Zoom or whatever platform that you're using. But you can also go ahead and assign these to your students individually as extensions. So let's say that we just got done learning about CVC words and how to tap them out or segment them and spell them, whatever you're focusing on, and you want your students to practice. So you can go about assigning these decks in different ways. So like I said, you'd have your library set with all of the different decks that you think are valuable for your students. And once you're in that library tab, let's click on the deck that we want to assign. We can go here to this action button. And from there you can drop down and you'll see a couple of different options. So there's two options that you can go about using for your class, and I'll go through both of them. So this fast pin option is going to give you a little 3-digit code here. I mean, a 4-digit code. And these codes expire in 14 days. So you just want to use this fast play if you're going to go ahead and assign it or provide it to your students right away. It's nothing that you can do long term because they do expire. Or you can just go ahead and take this link here. So once you do that, you can add this code or the link into Seesaw or Google Classroom, whatever you want. And once your students go ahead and click on this link or type in this code, they're going to be able to work their way through the deck just like we did on their own and practice themselves. One thing about FastPlay is that it does not generate data for you to go back and look at. So this is just if you want them to practice, but you're not really interested in monitoring their growth or how they did. So that is an option for just really quick practice. If you do want to collect data on how your students are doing with CVC words and the middle O sound, you're going to go back to the action button and go to hyperplay link. Now this is going to generate this long link here, and you can just copy it. And I'm going to show you how you can add this link into Seesaw as well as Google Classroom right now. So let's go to Seesaw first. And I have another video on how you guys can create these schedules on Seesaw, and I'll link it in the description box below. These are super helpful for just outlining your day. So we have these different lessons and parts of the days that our students follow. And let's say that at 12:30, you want them to work on that CVC boom deck. So what you can do is just go ahead and use this picture camera icon to upload the Boom Learning logo like I did here. And then once you do that, you're going to click on the 3 dots and click on link. Once you do, you're going to paste in that code that we just copied from Boom Cards and just press the green button to add it in. So now when you assign Monday's schedule to your students, now at 12:30, they can go and click here, and then they can go ahead and log into their account, and they can practice their boom cards that way. I'm going to go ahead and log in as a student so that you guys can see. So I decided to log in as my student Danny. And once I go ahead and try to log in as this student, it's going to ask if I'm sure that this is me. So I'm going to say, yes, this is me. And now it gives me the option to play that boom deck. So I just go to play, and I can work my way through the entire activity here. And so now it's going to generate all of the data for Danny as he plays, and it will tell me if he gets things right or what he got wrong, and I can go in and access that data. So he would work his way through this entire deck, and he can save and quit. And then I can go back in as a teacher and access that data. So that's how you would assign it through Seesaw. I'm going to go ahead and show you how you would assign it through Google Classroom now. So now I am back in my Boom card library, where I'm going to go ahead and do that action drop down button again and click on that Hyperplay link. So once I grab that link and copy it, I can go to my Google Classroom. Once I'm in Google Classroom here, I can go to classwork up on the top and go to the create button. You want to choose assignment. And from here, you can go ahead and give it a title. And some instructions. And then I can go ahead to where it says add and then just drop in my link. So I can paste my link in and just press add link. So I'm going to wait for that link to completely upload on to this assignment. And once it does, I'm just going to simply press assign here. I can also go through and give it a point value, a due date, and things like that. But for the purpose of this video, let's just press assign. And now when you go through your classwork or your students see their own classwork, it's going to be here under CVC Word Middle O. And they would just simply click here and they would access that deck just like before. And again, they would have to be logged in on their student account in order to play. Another way to kind of go about giving your students access to those accounts is you can go back to your Boom card class and you can go and copy this URL here. So you'll see your username and your password and then a URL. So I can go and just copy that here. And I can give my students access to that link instead if I don't want them to play a specific deck. So say that I just want them to practice their decks and practice anything that I have in their library. Then I can give them this code and they can choose who they are. They can say, oh, I'm Danny. And let me click here and Danny can enter in his password and then press OK. Once he does that, you can go through and see all of the decks that are assigned to Danny and which ones that he has played so far, which ones he has not, by these little progress bars on the right. And he can go through and check and play whichever ones he would like. So you can see anything with the big check mark here in the dark green, he has completed, and here is his score to the right. Anything that is still light green means that he's still working on it and has not completely completed it yet. So he can see his own progress and track how far along he is with all of his decks that we have assigned him. So now that we have gone through assigning the work to our students and how we can share them, I want to show you how we can access the reports to go ahead and look at the data and see how we can change our instruction to better meet the needs of our students. So I'm going to go ahead and log back in as a teacher and show you that. So now that I am logged back in as a teacher, I can see my tabs up here on the top. I am going to click here where it says reports. So once you click on reports, you're going to click which classroom you're using and then which folder if you have created any. And you can see all of the things that are assigned. So you can choose what decks you want to look at. I am going to choose this fall sentence matching, and the CVC words middle sounds. So I can choose as many decks as I want to go ahead and look at the data from and look as a class. So I can see a couple of different things here. I can see the last time that Danny has logged in, and then also how he's done right here on this deck that was assigned, the fall sentence matching for CVC words. How long it took him. I can see his progress, how many times he's played this deck. He's played twice, his average score as he's playing. And again, for the CVC middle sounds activity, he has an average of 50%. He's played twice, and how long it's taken him to play this activity. So I can go through and look at all of the data for each student or my class at once, or I can just click on a specific student and see how they're doing. And this is kind of like that report that Danny saw on his student side as well. So we're looking at that same progress that he sees. So we can both track, and I can refer back to this when speaking to Danny. So I can say, hey, Danny, go ahead and look at your progress report, and you can see that you're not done with CVC Word Builder Middle A. You still have a little bit of your green bar to fill up. So I can go ahead and make sure that I'm communicating with him in this manner. When I go to my reports, I can also go through and see some more information about how Danny did here. So if I go to the progress on his report, I can see what he got correct and what he didn't. So anything in red is something that he got incorrect. And I can just click on it and see that, oh, he messed up with spelling or reading the sentence, I like the cob. Maybe he doesn't know what cob is. So maybe we have to work on vocabulary, or maybe he didn't tap it out right. And so maybe that's something that we need to work on. Maybe he got confused with the B and pronounced it as a D sound instead. So these are things that I can look at here in the reports and see exactly what he got wrong. I can go through and see what he got right, what he got wrong for every little thing here within his deck. And I can, again, do that with any of the other reports. So I can click here for the middle sounds and see, oh no, so he pronounced the I sound as ah. So we can go through and work on these vowel sounds and see where it is he is struggling, and see if there's a trend in all of the answers that he got incorrect. So this report is super helpful for that reason. You can also go through and find activities for your library by going back up to this top area and clicking on store. So something that's really different about Boom cards is that they are laid out as points instead of dollars. So as you see on the bottom, you have 250 points. That just means that it's $2.50. Not sure why they're called points, but they are. So anything you see, kind of just convert it into money, $2.50. You guys can go and search by authors, by decks, by whatever content you're looking for. So you can do CVC and search here. You guys can search for my decks that I've created by typing in Loving Little Learners and typing that in and seeing what comes up as an author. And you can click here and see all of the decks that I have created here. And those are the ones that I featured in this video if you're interested. And if you don't want to buy your decks directly here on Boom Learning, you guys can also purchase decks on Teachers Pay Teachers. So you can just simply type in Boom decks here and search. Or if you go to my store, which is linked in the description box, I have a category called Boom Cards here. And you can see on my store all of the different Boom cards that are ready to go and available for you guys to just use. So I hope that you guys can find some use for Boom cards for your classroom. I think it's a really good way to extend your students' learning and allow them to practice whatever content you're going over. It's super um, interactive. You have that self-correcting aspect of the activities that you're doing. And it's just really fun to do, whether or not your students are doing it on their own or you're sharing your screen and guiding them through it during your lessons. So either way, and either any way that you decide to use it, Boom Learning and Boom Cards are super, super fun to use, especially right now during remote learning. Even if you're in a hybrid model, you guys can go ahead and give your students access for small groups and things like that, so that they can still have that practice, or you can assign it as homework and track their growth and their progress that way. So I really hope that you guys like Boom Learning just as much as I do. I'm going to link everything that I showed in the video in the description box below. So if you're interested in any of that, just go ahead and take a look. And I hope that you guys like this video and subscribe to my channel, Loving Little Learners. Thank you for watching.